All right. I think that we're live. Let's see if it starts.
I think that we are. It says recording on my end.
Perfect. Okay. Hello, Alexander.
Hello, Miss Karis Brown.
It's so nice to finally be with you
know.
on the computer. Like, we've been homies for what, like 2 years now?
Yep.
And we've
Yes.
never, and we both video, and yet we've never done this.
We do a lot of talking about it. There it is.
I think we just do a lot of talking, just
Yes.
about all things. So
It might have been too much back in the day. So
I think you're probably right. It might probably be too much if we don't keep it under control right now. Okay. So I know for me. So, okay. This call is about the Sedona Cosmic Awakening Conference, which we are going to be co-speaking on Friday. Do you know what time this is happening? I don't have any idea, actually.
We are the last speakers before the break. I believe it's 6 p.m.
Cool.
It's either till 6 p.m. or at 6 p.m. on Friday.
Cool. Okay.
So
great.
It's either 5:30 or 6 for sure. I know that.
Great. Okay. So perfect. And so we're going to be part of that. And this is an info video about it. But we also wanted to make sure you guys watching that we give you value in the video. Of course, one of the things that I firmly believe is I have an intention that anytime anyone ever sees my face, hears my name, sees my info come up in their feed, that they're always benefited and walking away improved. And so I don't believe in just like giving out pieces of information and holding, but this is also just going to be an intro, or else we'd be talking your faces off for the next hour and a half.
I know. This is a subject near and dear to both of our hearts.
Yes. So let's just dive in. So our talk is going to be on ET contact as a way of life.
Yes.
Usually when it starts, people are like, holy bananas, my life is crazy. ET is real. Oh my God. And that happened to me. My entire life shifted, and everyone around me got so sick of hearing me talk about this because I saw it everywhere until I started making YouTube videos. And that was actually one of the things that got me out of it. So, Alexander, since you've had contact pretty much always, right? But you became aware of it at a certain point. So what was the shift like from, holy shit, this is crazy, blowing my mind, this stuff is real and I didn't know, to, oh yeah, so the Arcturians buzzed in today and I got this message that it's no big deal anymore? Because that's where we're at now. But I think most people are still in the holy shit mode. So can you talk about that transition for you a little?
Well, basically what it was like for me was, being a personal trainer back in the day, which that's still one of my passions, but being into physical fitness, it was when I really, really was like pushing that chi, that like when like basically that crown would fire for me and I was in the sun and I was like really happy and all the endorphins, I would have these beings come through. And I have written in my journal, like, I don't even know, 2010, I didn't know they were blue avians, but I was like, there's these blue firehawk people. And I saw the blue fire around them, and I had the spear being coming in. It was like literally like the beings, like it was like this blue bird person on fire, and then like these spear beings. And I was just like, Corey wasn't talking about this stuff till like last year. So it's basically just stuff that I had to just realize, like, I thought I was crazy. I'm sitting there in the window in the gym and people are like I literally, because I knew I had to be in the sunlight too. So I'm like leaning into the sunlight and like people are like, what are you doing? Are you praying? You praying to the sun god? And I'm just like, yeah.
Kinda.
I didn't know what to say, honestly, because if I told them, they'd be like, all right, take him away in the straitjacket. Because I'm just like, yeah. Actually, aliens are helping me work out. So
so you guys know, other dimensional bodies. Yeah. The first time I met the avians, I met a warrior crew of the blue avians in Las Vegas. I was meditating.
Yes.
Yeah, this was one of my first goddess activations. It was in 2013, I think.
Yeah.
And
people were calling the Vegas back then, right?
The Vegas, yes, because I
exactly, yeah. I know who they were.
Guys. Yeah, and I'm looking at them. I'm like, what are they? Were kind of bird-like. They had a bunch of on, and I was like, who are you guys? Because they were cool. I was like,
so cool.
And they said, look up the Vegas, and I was like, oh, I'm in Las Vegas. Oh, yeah, okay. And then I found out about all that stuff.
Wow, how synchronistic! I didn't know that.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Okay, so I know that a lot of people watching this are probably going to be like, I want to be more in contact with my other dimensional, extraterrestrial, same thing, guides. And so what are ways they can get into contact? Because in my experience, I found that, once in a while something will make a physical body and hang out, but actually usually that's not how it goes. And
Yes,
our minds have been conditioned to be like, oh, then it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think of that? How can people let it in and get contact in ways that they can trust and that doesn't go against the grain of just how stuff tends to work?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think that they can just kind of start small, because a lot of like what I've seen and like my guides and my people are always telling me is it's all about trust and gratitude. So like the belief and the gratitude. So I think that if they start small, even if it's like silly things like just believing or knowing that the front parking spot is going to be open when they pull up at the market or whatever, or just, and then just watching that car back up. Because I mean, I remember back in like 2009 being like, oh my God, I did that with my mind. And like, it was like you're calling people on the phone and they're just,
Yes.
this dude is crazy. Like, but it's like, it took a while to realize that that was manifestation. So if they have beings help them with little things and start small, because I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, you can manifest whatever you want if you believe it, but the belief has to be there. Because it's like, I know, I'm sure you've gotten asked the question before, well, why don't you just manifest a briefcase with $1 million in it? And it's like, because at this current moment, I don't truly believe that I can do that. But if you did, it would honestly happen. So
hologram.
That's what I say. Start small. Start with like little realistic things in kind of shaping your reality, and have them assist with that, because that's what they're here for.
Yeah, they're support personnel for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, like I read a Ascension book in a library one time, or a bookstore, and it basically said, it was one of those little ones that someone like wrote one day and then it just kind of gets tossed in the back of the library. And it said, yeah, I know, they're the ones that have the legit info, you find out, not the ones that look all posh, you know. And it said, dial 911 in your mind and be like, they said call operator in your mind really loud, and someone will come in and assist you. But
oh my God,
earnestly do it, you know. And so one of the things that I really love to say over and over when we're talking to people about ETs is, because just like any paradigm shift, a lot of times in our culture, in order to get the steam up to make the paradigm shift, you have to get really mad at the other paradigm in order to stop it. And so I just want to say that on behalf of people who are as much alien as human, as I believe you are, if not more, it's not better to have this focus. It's just a special.
I could not agree with you more. That is something I'm very passionate about. If you're certain people out there are having hatred towards the beings, that whether it's unfortunate or not, the fact of the matter is it is what it is. If certain beings made things the way that they are on this planet at this time, to have hate for them, you can't really move into your power in the structure that they created, you know? So
and like, look at what humans do. Who are we to judge? You know?
I know, seriously.
Okay. And I do know that some levels of ET tech, which is one of the reasons that the jumping off and on planet that's done is not done on a general level yet, just like going into inner Earth, not done on a general level yet, because our minds as humans still have enough warlike frequencies that we can't receive the tech. You can't understand the tech. If you've still got resentments and anger and all that shit in you, you can't fathom the paradigm of how the stuff literally works and weaves together to make the free energy technology that will bounce all the places we're trying to get.
Exactly.
So, okay, tell me one of the most epic contact experiences you've had that blew your mind the most.
Most epic. Okay. Well, I think I would have to go back to what I was kind of bringing up before. Just actually, no, I have a good one. I basically when I came out into Sedona before I moved here, because that's where we're broadcasting from right now, Sedona, Arizona. And I came out to Sedona, and I had a very good friend. She wanted to put me under hypnosis, and she only saw this happen one other time. But basically, she put me under, and the second she put me under, as you would say, inner child was on fleek. Okay. So, the second I was under, inner child just jacked the suit. Okay. So like she had me write down these 10 questions, which were like, what is this with love? What is this with abundance? Like all crap that doesn't really even matter. Not that that's crap, but the second I was under, she was just like, oh my God, this dude's channeling. She starts asking her own stuff because she was like, this is an opportunity. He's like in a channeling state. But basically all the information that came through was all validated. Like all people started coming out like, I'm the whistleblower bringing this information to light. And like all the stuff that came through, like, I mean, I have this, basically I have a recorded timestamp date on my old cell phone. I still have this phone and I'm keeping it very safe because I have the date, the time, like you couldn't fake that, of me saying all this information on this phone before the whistleblowers came out and said, oh, we're bringing this information to light. So when the information was brought to light, it was just like, hey guys, I've been talking to you about this stuff for like over a year almost. So that was something that was very validating for me.
Yeah, I feel you. We were just talking about that before the call about how like I'm undergoing this career shift right now. And one of the things that's letting me let go of what I did is that I'm finding people on the internet teaching the same stuff that I was teaching, and we don't know each other and we didn't study from the same things on the planet, but it's almost verbatim the same. And I'm like, we're learning from the same things. And I think it's 5D where this particular tech is coming from.
Yes.
It was all about manifestation, that kind of thing. So, yeah, realizing that, okay, someone else is doing it. And if someone else is doing it, then I don't have to do it. Then I can go to my next thing. I don't have to feel bad.
Exactly.
Brought to the world already.
Exactly.
So, okay. So
couldn't agree anymore.
Yay. Let's see what else to talk about. So in this talk, we're going to talk about making ET contact a normal way of life. So nowadays, so for instance, you know the story that I just got picked up when I was driving west on the highway exactly 7 years after the first one, all this kind of stuff, which I've not publicly shared yet. I'll probably anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you say?
I don't know what that is.
Ooh,
that's my phone ringing. That's coming through a speaker next to me. I honestly don't even know how that's possible. My phone's not ringing. There's a phone call. I don't even have an iPhone. This is a Droid. That's my phone ring.
It's like the phone call on the first time we tried to record. What do you think they want to say? What do they want to say? Tune
in. Okay. I'm getting what I got during that hypnosis. A lot of people out there are still in this lone wolf mentality, okay? So spirituality as a whole for thousands of years was very much so this lone wolf, this wolf by themselves. But at this time in our ascension process, it's time for this wolf pack to come together, okay? So let's let all these wolves become a pack, because that is how we move into our true power, is that 100th monkey effect. And basically, I mean, we've all heard about that when like one island worth of monkeys, like once enough monkeys were washing their potatoes, every monkey on the same day at the same time, all of the islands started washing their potatoes. That's what we're looking for at this time with the rest of like the people that like we're wondering, are these people ever going to wake up? It's like enough people have to wake up and then it's just going to be in alignment.
We've already reached critical mass in so many ways. Like, look at how the world used to be, 10, 20, 30 years ago. And in the beneficial ways, the way it is now. People want to look at all the negatives, but we've also come really far in a lot of ways, especially when it comes to the ability of our brains to comprehend stuff. And yeah, I really think that part of getting comfortable with jumping paradigms is being okay with leaving the past one. I mean, I'm learning all about breatharianism and living on prana, which is a 5D technology right now.
Yes.
And when I first started it, I had this feeling of rage come up one day after I'd been unhooking from food, learning how to get my energy somewhere else. And finally, because it made me feel like so little of a human. When you don't eat and you don't spend time thinking about it, shopping for it, cooking it, eating it, cleaning up after it, preparing it, storing it, you don't feel very human. And I got so annoyed at this world, and I was like, fine, I'm out of here. I looked over at Lily. My cat, she was sitting close to me. I was like, Lily, let's go to another freaking planet. And she was like, okay. And then since I made that, and I didn't know what that would look like, but I felt myself send up this beacon into the universe. It was like, I'm letting go of my old earth beliefs. I'm just letting go. And what my mind translated that to, I would get on a ship and fly away. even though that didn't physically happen, because that's not how things usually work here, actually, in this game.
Yeah.
But my whole life has shifted, and the things that were holding me back just fell off. So you have to be okay with leaving it behind. You got to let go of you guys are doing it so wrong, because they're also you. Outside, within, you're all the same. If you can perceive it, it's vibrating, it's part of you. So you got to let it go, and then it can heal.
Yes. And just to validate that for everybody, because I don't know if they can tell through the camera, when I had Sister Karis come visit me, I mean, we hadn't seen each other in a good 6 months or so. I was just like, okay, what are you doing? Because you look like 3 years younger, and I want to, like, can I have some of that Kool-Aid? I was just like, and you were like, the breatharian, and like you told me, and I was just like, wow. And as that's happening, it's like, I feel like what you're doing truly is you're making it an easier channel for your inner child to get in the suit.
That's part of it, right? Because you think what is youth? Because
Yes.
and this is 5D tech. Like when you go to 5D, when you see all these, and 5D, you guys, is like the light beings, like the ascended masters, like the Saint Germain and the archangels, and they come through with that shimmer, and they're very tall and epic and amazing, and that's a fifth dimension. But from here, because we're coming from somewhere that is lower historically, so it feels like, oh, love and light, da da da. Once you're in 5D, there are other dramas going on, like it's not like it's perfect once you're there. But if you think about epic stuff that's happening now in your life, and you used to be like army crawling and pulling yourself to get where you now are, you see that where you now are feels like paradise to what it was before. True.
Yes.
Where you are now has its own challenges and all this kind of stuff. So but you never see any of those people old and decrepit. And what I realize is aging is just your body breaking around you. And we have this paradigm that says, oh, well, if you have a certain number of years under your belt, then it's supposed to be normal for parts of your body to not work anymore, when our body remakes itself. So that doesn't make any sense, Yeah, and so
doctors have disproved that now, disproved the whole, like, genetics runs in my family, and all that stuff is a program to allow people to age. But the fact of the matter is, we used to live much longer than humanity is at this time. So it's time to move back into that. And that's what this golden age, that's part of what it is.
Amen. And the thing is, like, again, there's nothing wrong with the aging earth paradigm. It's a beautiful story. One time I asked, when I was trying to kick around this idea of learning how to gracefully shift in a different way other than getting old, I realized that, well, some of my guides, some of my ones that we're talking about here, came in and said to me, well, there are things that you miss out on if you don't do this. So I always like to have the small print before I agree to anything. I'm like, tell me all of it. Tell me what the shadow's going to be like. Tell me all of it. And they said, okay. And they gave me an example of an earth cocktail, a specific earth, a very expensive, like expensive earth cocktail. And it was being like 7 years old, sitting with your grandchild who's about 2 or 3, still young enough to fall asleep in arms, but old enough to be heavy. And you're sitting there, and this beloved grandchild is sleeping on you, and you're old and you have arthritis and your joints are aching because you don't want to move because they're sleeping, but you love them so much that you won't stop the pain because you just are loving this experience, and they love you so much that they would fall asleep and snuggle into you. So in order to get that, you have to have children. You have to live to be that age. You have to have a good relationship with your children so you can hang out with your grandchildren. They have to have children. This is very expensive when you rack up the experiences, But it's a specific earth cocktail that is a very bittersweet, very like delicious thing. And so my 5D buddies who are teaching me all about running chi through my body in this different way and becoming nourishment to the world rather than needing nourishment from the world, they were like, you'd be giving stuff like this up, So I had to think about it and say, well, do I want to? I'm like, yeah. So I still will. But I see how it's so beautiful. So let's see. Let's talk more about content. So Nowadays,
How about we just have a really long dream, Kara, so that we wake up from it? just put me in a 60-year dream, and then I wake up and be like, oh, okay, thank God that's over.
exactly. Or it's like when you hear people do a DMT trip, and they go and live, or a salvia, when people use a salvia medicine, they go live 20 years in a completely different life and then pop back into this life. You're like, guys, stuff like this is happening all the time. The only thing is, when it happens, believe it. And here's one thing, if people want to connect to their guides, if you have any tips, I'd love to know too. But what I always say is, if you're trying and you can't hear, say louder, make it so I can hear you, make it so that I know that it was you, and make it so I cannot explain it away. Make it defy logic so I can't explain it. Make it
defy the mathematics. Yes, that's what I always.
Stronger. So what else can they do to bring them in?
Remove the fluoride from your water, and buying bottled water from the store does not mean that there's no fluoride in it. So either get reverse osmosis water and add your essential minerals to it, or just go to a water shop. We're lucky enough to have water shops in town in Sedona, you know that, and then we have also the wonderful spring that we used to travel up to. So just make sure that you know that the water you have is clean water. And also, when these beings start to come in, you need to remember that you're piercing through the dimensions because your eyes are round. So what will happen was, when I started to wake up, and other people that I know, they would actually see the beings on the outskirts of their eye to open up to that. But what do? The second that they look at it, it disappears, because they can't look at it straight. So just kind of be in trust if that's how it's happening for you. What I had to do was kind of just gaze at it with my peripheral vision, and just know that they're there, and just kind of feel their energy, so you can, instead of like having to see and having to know, just feel it. And if it feels good, then it's good. And if it doesn't feel good, then, I mean, you control your reality. You ask it to leave.
Just white light it. Just explosion white light. And also, if people are trying to ascend, trying to go farther, a great technique is, as you're going to sleep, just imagine that you're getting into a chamber full of just light that bombards you. Just thick light that bombards you. And that also is good for healing. It's good for anti-aging, all kinds of stuff.
Oh God, yeah.
Cool.
Love it.
So let's see, anything else? We've been talking for a while. I think this is a pretty good intro, because we don't even know. We just get on there and rap. And if people have questions, they can ask us there. We'll Q&A. But what else?
I would love to ask you what your greatest experience was with ET. Out of the five.
This I don't like, there's so many. This one is okay. This is my best one, and I have never told the story publicly.
I knew you had a good one for me. They're like poking you. Like, ask her what she asked you.
Okay. This one is one. The reason I haven't said it was because I was afraid that it would scare people. And so disclaimer, right? Okay. So I was living in this fairy community in Virginia, the rolling hills of Virginia. I was a Waldorf teacher. I was totally embodying my fairy. I put leaves in my hair every day, all that kind of stuff. Ooh, hear my third chakra freaking out.
Yeah.
And it was really an intense time, because I was having a lot of awakenings about ETs. Oh, shoot. Should I tell you the other story? Oh, no. Okay. No, I'll tell you the one I was going to tell you. And the other one I was going to tell you, that one time they left me a note. One time they were blinking lights outside. I lived way out in the country down a gravel road. And they were blinking blue lights outside my house in response to my thoughts. I didn't have curtains on my windows, because there were just trees all around me. Yeah. And I asked them, I was like, I'm going to physically freak out if you guys come. Would you leave me a note? And do you know, I found a note the next day from them. And I still have it in Sedona. I'll show it to you when I come. Yeah. I'll bring it to the workshop. Okay. So anyways, this is the experience. The experience was, I was alone in the house at the time. That was during the couple years I was married, and my husband had left to go for a training that weekend for his job. And I was never really, like, I was alone there every day, but I was never alone without a car. And we were sharing a car. So I was like stranded here in the woods all by myself. And he left on Saturday morning or whatever, and I decided to sleep in. And so I'm laying there in bed, and I heard the door open and shut, the front door. We lived in this little cabin. And I was like, oh, he must have come back to get something. He must have forgotten something. And, but he didn't come in to say hi to me. And I was like, well, if he's gone for a weekend, he would have come back in and said bye again. And I heard my kitchen cabinets just open and shutting, doors just open. It's like someone's like just looking around for something. And I was like, oh no, the car is gone. it's like I'm not here. I wonder if it's someone robbing the house. They might hurt me. Like, oh crap, what do I do? And so I'm listening. Now what I realize is they were just trying to get my attention, just like making little noises, being around. But I got really scared and I went into fight or flight. And so I was like, I need to be really quiet because they don't know I'm here. So maybe I can just hide and they'll just leave. And so I got down next to my bed and tried to go under my bed, but I could only fit like an arm and a shoulder under. It was too low. And I'd never tried to get under the bed before, clearly. So I didn't know, but I was like, okay, that's not going to work. So I went and stood. There was this little cubby next to the door to the bedroom that the closet was back there. And so if someone came in, they wouldn't be able to see me. And I stood there for a while because I was like, if someone comes in, I guess I'm just going to have to like attack them if they're going to try to hurt me. I don't know what to do. It's so funny. You never know how violent you are until these moments, you know?
In this movie. How did this manifest? This is what happened.
Yeah. So anyways, they're still walking around the house just making noises. And so finally I took my fist and I banged it on the door, just like make a loud noise to see if they would startle. Not even a flinch. And I'm like, and I'm freaking out. Like I'm just getting more and more fight or flighty, like, which is also something that happens with ET contact because our bodies are in a different paradigm and we've been like indoctrinated in all these ways to not believe in it. So when it comes up, it freaks you out. Sometimes people get nauseous, sometimes they vomit, sometimes they just freak out, and it's normal and it will go away. It's not something that always happens. It's because of the paradigm wrenching itself to be different, which is also why they're more gentle with us usually than just popping in the full gray huge eye thing that would have you screaming and freaking out, you know. So even if you don't think you will, often you will. You'll see.
Yes.
Okay. So anyways, so I finally opened the door and went out into the living room, and there was a girl there. And now what I realized she was a hybrid, I think Pleiadian and gray, but she was about my height, blonde, very thin, with huge blue eyes, like giant, you know, like definitely more than human. And I was so fight or flighty that I was like, stop it, you're scaring me. And I started to like run at her to like slap her, to like attack, because I was just so in this space of like fury and fear. And this was back in 2012 this happened.
Yes.
And so like it was like February or March of 2012. And so I run at her, start to hit her. And I grabbed her arm, and her arm, I mean, I'm thin, right? I weigh like 90 pounds or something, have my whole adult life. But when I feel my arm, hers was like half the size of mine. So she was very thin, which is a normal ET thing sometimes in some species. And she looked at me, was not upset at all, was like, we're not trying to scare you. And then she code worded me in some kind of way. I don't know what she said, but all of a sudden I was just like, boom, oh, of course, okay. And it's like the human veil got removed from my eyes, where I remembered that, oh, I know these people. It's no big deal. I do not have to freak out. That's right. It's like she took a hypnosis down. Have you seen those hypnotists tell people that they're chickens or whatever? It's like, okay, when I say the word egg, you pretend like you're a chicken. And so, or no, you become a chicken. And then people will think they're out, and then they'll say egg, and they'll start acting like a chicken, you know? It felt like that. It felt like something just removing and being like, oh, that's right. Okay. And so then I remember walking out the front door behind her, and there were one or two people behind me too. I don't remember what they looked like, but I knew they were there. We walked out. I don't exactly remember what the ship looked like. I just remember a shining hull, like a shining silver surface, and going up under it, I think, like ducking under, kind of like the way you see the Venusian spacecrafts, like an old school one with the door underneath. So going up, and then this is the part that I had never shared before. This is the freaky part. And so I'm standing in the ship. There are, I don't know, 4 or 5 people around. And I stepped like this out of my body. So another version of me that's in here stepped out, and my body just hits the floor because it was off, you know, just like dropped.
Love it.
And I don't remember exactly what that version looked like, but I know taller and like longer, and like I felt like, ooh, okay, I feel, and I think maybe even no hair, like maybe that kind of one of the grays that are blue.
Yes.
And then I remember looking over and seeing my body sitting there on like on like one of those crazy chairs that people see on ships with my chin in a harness. And then they were doing something in the back of my head, like had back of my head open, like Star Trek, like Data on Star Trek, you know, just like messing with the electronics back there, which is, they say, the next ascension chakra for humans. They say that we're going to ascend and our head is going to activate back here, you know, the ancient souls, the ancient stuff. Okay. So, and I remember my emotion looking at them work on my body, and I'm just like leaning on the console, hanging out, talking to people, you know, and the way I felt was when I take my car in to get a tune-up. Same emotion. It's like, oh, great, I'm getting a tune-up, I'm getting an upgrade. Sweet. Okay, that's the last thing I remember. And then I wake up in my bed, really groggy, and I'm laying there, and it's like that whole sequence kind of repeated a little spotty. And then I woke up in my bed again, and the whole sequence kind of repeated a little spottier.
Wow.
And so they like cut and pasted on top of some other things. And I'm not a sleeper inner, you know, because we have traveled together, and you know I'm up at the crack. Yeah, exactly. I can't help it. I just can't go back to sleep. But I slept till like 11 or 12 that day, roll out of bed all groggy. I was like, I think I just got abducted by aliens. Went to the shower, and in the shower, you know how everything totally flows, no pun intended, in the shower, because you're underwater and you're more open. And so I was talking to my main guide at the time, who was like a tall gray from 5D with brown skin. And I said to him, you know, it would be really nice if I didn't freak the hell out whenever you guys came and threw a tantrum. And he's like, we would like that too.
Yep.
And so, yeah, and so after that, everything shifted again in my life, you know, just like one of those huge, I completely exited that life it was in June. So March, April, May, June, 3 months until my life completely transformed into another level. And so when you do get picked up, it's usually because they're upgrading you so you can bring in another frequency. You know, don't get scared. People have had cancer cured on abductions, all this kind of stuff. It's just that when you wake up in the room and they're operating on you, it feels scary because it might hurt, but any operation is going to hurt. And often they're healing you and they're helping you.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Yeah. So that's my favorite part.
That's so awesome. Thank you for sharing that with everybody and me. What I would just like to share with everybody with the fear that comes up is, you have to realize if any of these beings, these spirits, the spirit guides, or any of this stuff, if it wanted to scare you, it would scare you. But the fact of the matter is, what I've noticed through my ascension process is anytime I went, it disappeared. And you went, boom, gone, because they don't want to scare you. So that should be enough of the validation for you to be like, okay, just once again, bring it back to trust and belief, and know that, okay, I believe that if they wanted to scare me, wouldn't they scare me when I'm scared still? But what I want you to do is overcome your fear and release this and realize that they're here to help you. And if they weren't here to help you, they would be consistently scaring us and keeping us away from our power. Agreed?
Yes. Yes. When I was writing Journal of a Starseed, I had I would write at night, and I had the small grays, the little 3-footers rolling up in there. And I was writing in like this crowded basement. That's where I would go escape to write. And there was like a treadmill in a corner and a bunch of like old bookshelf. And they would like hide in the treadmill and look at us like, you guys are freaking me out. I was like, why can't
I can see you.
They're kind of creepy, like they move all fluid and they're all like intense. I mean, goodness knows Lily is half alien, and just the other day, I keep her little perch right next to my pillow, so she and I sleep with our heads like very close together. And just the other day, she jumps up on her perch as I'm sleeping and looks me in the face. And so I like open my eyes, and there's her little face like looking at, and I was like, oh, it's freaking me out. So even if stuff you really love like that can freak you out, because you know how I love Lily. It's like no question.
Yeah, you know how I love it. I'll never forget the day I'm sitting there and I'm just like kind of like waiting for everybody to be ready, and I just go, where's Lily Cat? And literally, she was on the couch next to me on the other side of her pillow, and like she literally heard me because I didn't say it out loud. I thought it in my head. I'm like, "Where's Lily Cat?" And she's like, comes up with one eye open, like, "I'm sleeping right here, dude." And like I was just like dude, love her.
Respect, Lily. Oh yeah, she knows what's up. Like I joke that she's the boss of me, but I'm also serious. Like I serve her. Yeah, she's my little goddess.
You want to come in here and not have to deal with any karmic repercussions. You come in here as a cat.
Oh, I was just actually telling my mother the other day, I was like, Lily and I have these conversations, and I look at her, and I know that in other places and times, she's this huge, epic thing, and he's this little tiny pocket-sized, like, creature that I can travel with, and everyone who meets her consistently says, that's not a cat. That's not.
It's not. Yeah, I probably have like 5-10 stories about Lily alone, I could tell, but yeah.
Ooh, I wonder if we could sneak her into our talk.
Oh my God, yes, please.
Have a roam and a rat. Yeah, let's do it. We'll just close the doors. Okay. Don't tell. Okay, great. All right. So I guess that's it. I mean, we just kind of bounced around, but that was the intention. So our intention in this video, you guys, is just to show you guys our vibe together, because y'all have never really seen us doing our geek out, which I love to do with you, Alex. And thank you so much for incarnating, because you're one of my favorite, like, divine masculine wizard homies who can hold it down. And
I appreciate that more than you'll ever know. It's a blessing. You're one of the most powerful beings on this planet, and I just appreciate you being here and the service that you do and the travel that you do.
Thank you. Love working with you. And sending you guys
how people connect with you, like, so my people might see this video, and where are your websites, or how do they connect?
Certainly. Well, I'll give you all the links so you can put on yours, and give me yours so you can put it on my, I can put on mine too, but charismalina.com, CHARIS, like charisma without the ma, and then Melina, MELINA.com, and also on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. I am. And by the way, Alexandra, this is a fun download. So I was making these aura bracelets, and then of course I go see Alex, and he hands me this freaking epic crystal skull. I wear this every day. This thing, look at these skulls. They're so cute.
That's alien check right there. That was, I literally I wake up, there's a Pleiadian over my bed, and she told me that, so all those crystals are actually treated with precious metals. There's 24 karat gold, and rose gold, and bismuth, and titanium, and platinum, and silver, all infused molecularly to the atoms of the quartz. It's there's frequencies that we can create now due to the science, and really, which is alchemy on this planet, that is more powerful than even Atlantean times, as hard as that is to believe for some people.
It depends on where you're looking and what you believe in. Yeah, and so your stuff is crystal current, and guys, Alex makes jewelry, and it's legit. Like, I have heard so many stories, and also I use your tech myself. I use what you give me, and I've heard so many people have these epic stories of how they're healed, how they have these amazing experiences, how they're protected. They're in like dangerous situations, and somehow they walk out unscathed, and just happen to be right after you gave them the thing. Like, amazing. And I love it because it's covert. It just looks like a bracelet.
I know, exactly. And that was all down. That's 2009. That was a download from Spirit. I didn't even know what I was looking at, and they were showing me magnets and quartz, and I was just thinking, okay. And they showed me electricity go in a circle, and I'm just like, oh, all right. So it took me about 3 days to receive the download, and I was like, I get it. The magnets are aligned properly to pull through the next crystal. I thought this was strictly airy-fairy spiritual. I was like, oh, I'm going to pull all the energies of the crystals. I end up in Salem, Massachusetts at a shop. I'm talking to the guy. His jaw is wide open. The guy's an engineer, and he goes, dude, you don't even realize this is an actual scientific process. This is called the Piezoelectric Effect. So, like, every time, I mean, I must have heard, when I was starting this off, I must have heard 15, 20 times, I have to patent. This is not mine to patent. This was something that Spirit showed me.
I believe that too.
God forbid something happened to me. That's why I meet people that create jewelry. I teach them how to do this, because God forbid something happened. I don't want there to be a patent on it and this gets swallowed up. This isn't my technology to patent. This is a download from these aliens. So.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah, I feel the same way about all of my work, about all the things I do. It's open source. Like, because the thing is, everything that we know, people can find out themselves. They could go watch 1 million documentaries. They can go meditate. All of it, they can get themselves. They just come to us to get our flavor of it and what we've already figured out, so they don't have to recreate the wheel. Yeah. So.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, I'm so stoked. So we're speaking the 21st.
Yes.
Somewhere
Friday.
around 6.
It's, I believe it is 6 o'clock, but it might be 5:30.
And how long do we have? A half hour or something? We have.
Yes, we have. Yeah, we have 30 minutes, but there's a big break after us, so it's not like off the stage.
We might bleed over. So what we'll try to do then is spend half of it blabbering and then spend half of it Q&Aing. Yeah.
Yes, I would love to answer people's questions. Exactly. That's how people benefit, because we can, I mean, sometimes we might go like really out there and then people will be like, hey guys, come back.
Yeah. Could you come so I can understand what the hell you're talking about? Yeah. Oh, guys, and Alex does tarot readings on Facebook Live. You are like a Facebook Live dude. Like, I'm just starting my first one this weekend, and you were part of it. Like,
more and more. It's going to be, it used to be once a week, and then it would turn into like maybe every other week, and now it's like 5 times a week. So
Awesome.
they want me to say something if the channel's open. Go live and just say something quick for 5 minutes. But yeah, no, that's definitely what they want us doing, is getting more information out there. And the tarot, I do the weekly tarot, and literally from third density and fifth density perspective. And all my readings are on galactictarot.com.
Great. Galactictarot.com and Crystal Current Jewelry. Is Crystal Current, crystalcurrent.com?
Crystal Current, like electrical current, crystalcurrent.com. Yes.
Sweet. Okay. Yay. Thank you so much. I'm so stoked to put this up. And I'm so stoked to see you and to chat with you and geek out with you and everything.
Yes. Sedona misses you more than you know.
I miss Sedona. Okay. Much love, and love to all you people out there too.
Yes. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Love you guys.
Great. Bye.